Okay, so Mark here from Rock and Load. This afternoon I'm joined by one of the few men I can honestly say is better looking than me than Rock. Mr. Mark Tremonti back in Belfast. How are you, sir?
Good, very good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I was just saying as we walked in, it was, I can't remember, was it 2018, 2019? It was just after the Dying Machine had been released and you were here touring that. And obviously, little did we know what was around the corner.
Yeah.
A crazy few years.
Yeah, you know, it cut us all short for tours and you know, we released a couple albums that just we didn't get the tour on, so it was a big disappointment.
And were you guys touring at the time when COVID kicked in?
We were touring with Walk the Sky, Alter Bridge, which was our, you know, we were doing better than we've ever done before with Alter Bridge, and all of a sudden it just all stopped. So.
Yeah, crazy times. Yeah. And I was speaking to you recently, obviously it was a Zoom call on the back of the Tremonti Sings Sinatra album, and that was just literally around the corner at that stage when we were talking. And you had a live show coming up. How did the live show go then?
Oh, it was awesome, man. It was, we actually did another rehearsal show at my buddy's house the night before.
Okay.
We raised a ton of money that week. I think we raised $150,000 between those two nights, and all went to the National Down Syndrome Society, and this show is just a feel-good thing. You know, you go to a rock show and everybody's happy, everybody's more aggressive. This was just everybody had a smile on their face. It was just a very fun, emotional thing for me.
Yeah.
And we're scheduling another show here in London in December.
Okay, very good, very good. And was there any nerves, obviously stepping out of the comfort zone to perform that live compared to doing your own stuff?
Just little hints of it, but not much. You know, it's. I think when you do something for charity, you shouldn't be nervous about it. You know, it's just go.
Go to embrace it.
Yeah.
And was it a big show? What's the capacity, out of curiosity?
It was a theater. I think it was like 400 or 500 people.
Okay.
Small,
intimate enough.
Yeah.
So it suited to the music, I suppose.
Yeah.
And you guys now are back here in Ireland touring the last album, which launched back in September, Marching in Time. Obviously being delayed because of COVID.
Yeah.
Again, you were supposed to be here originally in January, but COVID just kept on messing things up. How's it been as a band with that uncertainty all the time, the early stages there, the logistically? It must have been a nightmare trying to navigate it.
You know, it's just watching the news and seeing, you know, because when you come over to Europe, you're not just hitting one country, you have to make sure that all the countries are good. And there were still some places we couldn't go on this tour because some places just aren't
ready.
as stable, I guess. So we did the best we could to get back out and hit as many markets as we were supposed to in the January run. But the good thing is everybody understands. You know, it's nobody has control of this. It's we're just like in the wind, following where it goes. You know.
As you say, out of your hands, and you just gotta let the chips fall where they may. And how's the live experience for you again then, obviously after so much time off the road?
It's awesome. You know, it's you know, we're just happy to be back doing what we love doing, you know, and everybody seems to be very happy to be back in venues watching people perform again, and it's why we do this. So
What was your first gig back with Tremonti, or?
The very first gig was in Germany. It was Rock and Park.
Oh yeah.
So the first gig was a big festival.
And what was that? It must have been quite an adrenaline rush after a couple of years off the road.
Well, no, we actually toured in the States.
Okay.
We toured in the States. We did a run with Seven Dust first, and then we toured with Daughtry after that, and then so we did maybe 6 or 7 weeks of touring, and before we came over here.
What's the sort of longest tour run you'll find yourselves on? How many dates, or how long away from home?
Usually about 5 weeks.
Is that your limit? Is that how you start to get?
Yeah, because I've got a daughter and 2 sons, and you know, it's one thing having 2 sons that are in their teens and stuff, but when you have a little baby, they change so much in a month that you can't, you know, it can't be any longer than that.
And does your wife and Stella get out at all, join on the road?
They usually do, but this time we both decided it wouldn't be good for her schedule to bring her over, because she's only 15 months. And she goes to therapy 5 days a week, so I wouldn't feel good about
disrupting that. And talk to me a little bit about gear. Obviously there was rumours and talk of a 100-watt head coming from yourself for the new PRS M215 behind you there.
Yeah.
So where are we at this stage now on the 100 watt?
I'm using it tonight.
I was going to ask.
You know,
Yeah,
I've been using it the whole tour. It's 3-channel amplifier. Right now it's being made. First we design it here over in the States, and then we have to ship it off to have it built. So the company that's building it are giving us, I guess, 3 examples, one for me, one for PRS, and one for them, so I can look at it and I can make sure it sounds like the one that we dialed in.
Yeah.
And then if not, they can change it there and keep sending them around until it's done. But
So
we've
this is your testing stage really for you live, playing it live?
Yeah, well, it's my favorite amp, so it's what I want to have out here. But it's we've put years and years. It's probably, I don't know how long. It's been 3 years of designing this amplifier.
Yeah.
I've got a whole stack of amps at home that were, the prototypes for it.
Yeah.
And finally, it's ready to go, and it's awesome.
And you say 3 channels, so obviously clean mid gain, I'm assuming, and then a high gain.
It's a clean channel, crystal. I mean, the clean channel blows people away when they hear it. It's you can turn up the each individual channel is completely isolated from the others. There's no waterfall. There's nothing spilling over. So on the clean channel, you can turn the preamp volume all the way up, turn the master down, have it give you a little gain if you want, but it's mainly for a nice big, almost like Fender Twin style, glorious big clean. The overdrive channel is like I told Paul I want a Dumble in this amplifier. I want like an overdrive special. So I took my overdrive special into the Paul Reed Smith factory, and Doug Sewell and Paul Reed Smith and me and Rich Hannon got in there, and it's fun to see Paul Reed Smith put on his glasses and his lights and poke and prod at this thing, and they would sit over in a corner and be like, all right, check, do you like this or do you like this, clipping wires. And it's funny, Paul would get all excited, he goes, I think we got it, and I'd play it and I'd be like, we don't have it yet, we don't have it yet. And then we'd keep on going, and at the end of the day, we all talked about how happy we were with it, and we just never settled ever. This amp has gone through so many phases, and I think it will be the best amp on the market. For the price, it'll be I think the best amp on the market.
It must be an incredibly difficult process, because I was trying to think of an analogy that is similar. Like, for example, when you go in to purchase aftershave, for example, right? You walk into, they give you a smell, you smell another one, you smell another one, the smells all blend together.
Yeah.
A good shop will give you a coffee to sort of break the scent and cleanse your palate. But when you're listening to something, how do you notice that in its minor tweaks? Because obviously, if you guys are sitting around the room, how do you go through that process?
With this amplifier, the biggest thing that I found that I liked that I put into this amp from the original versions, I fell in love with this amp years ago, but I'm trying to improve on it, make it even better. This time around, we had up in the high mids, we added a little bit, like you have these levels of little capacitors that are like 5 to 10 to 20 to 25, and different levels of added frequencies.
Yeah.
So we would go step it up, and I added the upper mids to all the channels. To me, those upper mids took the amp from being something that was great sounding, but those upper mids add this excitement to it, this character, this attack. When the pick hits the string, it has this audible noise and almost this sensation when you play it.
Yeah.
So it makes it exciting. It kind of, especially on that overdrive channel, it feels great to play.
Yeah. And live then, versus say playing in the studio. So when you're road testing it, playing it live, how do you sort of give that feedback then to the guys back about the amp? What are you looking out for?
Well, the amp's already in motion now, so we just tweaked it for me being in a room with it. I didn't tweak it for necessarily the live application. Now that I'm using it live, it's great. But I'm just having it out here now because it's the amp that I prefer to play with. So it's a lot of people have Kempers or foot switches that have all kinds of settings. I just need 3. I need a clean setting, I need a half dirty, and I need a big dirty lead tone. And on top of that lead tone, I'll add an overdrive outside of the amp, like a hand-wired tube screamer or a Klon.
Okay. I was wondering, yeah, but pedal-wise, then what would you use to sort of work with that? So, do you use many pedals?
No, I'm very straightforward.
Yeah.
I want the amp to do what it does for me. I do use a wah pedal, and I've got a signature wah pedal. I love octave pedals and an overdrive.
Yeah.
So wah, octave, overdrive. I do love univibes, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a lot of companies like Earthquaker Devices, for example, that do awesome pedals that do these really unique things. But I use those more in the studio. I have one Earthquaker Devices pedal out with me that I use for one song.
Yeah, yeah.
But as far as pedals that work all over the place, those are my wah and my overdrive and my octave that I'll use in many songs.
Yeah. And when you write songwriting, for example, and approaching solos, how do you like to think about the solo work that you put into the songs? Like, do you structure them, or do you let it more of an ethereal process?
I like them to be like a little song within itself. You know, tell a little story. First I keep in mind the melody that's going on, the vocal melody. That if it happens in a chorus, I look at whatever the vocal melody was and try to do a version of that, to introduce it.
Yeah.
And then I just improvise over the same track. You know, I'll just loop it and keep on improvising. And when I stumble upon something nice in a certain spot, I'm like, ooh, I want to put that 10 post in this. So that's going to happen here. And I'll keep playing. And when I hit that 10 post, I'll hit that lick, and then I'll go into something else. And until each one of those sections feels like, all right, these are all cool, great parts that tell a story, and they flow well together. And then when I go on tour, I'm like, damn it, how did I play that? So some of the solos are tough to tackle, but you know, it's a fun process. It's the toughest process for me in the studio is the writing the guitar solos.
Really, yeah. And would you tend to leave that towards the end of a song at all when you're recording it?
I have to. I can't, because when we're doing pre-production, I don't know which songs are going to have solos.
Okay.
And I don't want to write a solo, then all of a sudden we edit a song and the solo's not there anymore.
Yeah. And I remember Joe Satriani saying never write a guitar solo sitting down. He learned that mistake a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of the last album, obviously the Dying Machine was a concept album where you wrote a book alongside it.
Yeah.
And I was wondering whether the next album is going to be something similar, or whether you decided to maybe give that some space and maybe go back to that idea again another time.
It all depends on what the mood brings, you know. I never was a big concept record guy, you know. I loved my King Diamond records, and you know, I knew I had a bunch in my collection, but it wasn't something I ever thought I would do until I wrote a song called Dying Machine, and I loved the atmosphere of it, I loved the story of it, and I wanted to continue with it. And I wrote the book. I'm rewriting the book kind of right now, trying to get a publishing deal to get it released professionally, because I self-published the first book and sold, took it off the, you know, stopped selling it so I could get a publishing deal, and now it's taken, I don't know, 3-4 years of trying to hunt that down. It's a very hard process. I've had some leads and I've chased it down. I just get run in circles by people. It's very frustrating, but I'm not going to quit. So
well, sure, you put the labor and the hours and graft into it as well. Make sure that happens. And if anybody can make it happen, it'll be yourself. I'm sure.
I hope so.
And so, speaking of the new album, then, when you approach a new album, do you like to mix things up, or do you have a sort of formula process that you like to go back and
I dive into whatever I'm feeling at the moment, and then if I feel like I have only one style of song, if I write 3 songs that are all similar, I'm like, all right, I gotta write something different. Or what I like to try to do, like when I was younger, I would just throw myself at the guitar and see what happened, and then I'd find a right hand fingerstyle pattern. I'd play that and just move my fingers around, not think about theory. You know, theory to me when writing is not something. I like to go off the track, so I like to tune the guitar different. So as I grew as a songwriter, I would find as many guitar tunes as possible, because I find that the same chord voicing that my finger would be on would sound so cool in a different tuning. And it just gave me this whole other world to experiment with. Once I kind of went down that road so many times, I started writing to different drum loops and different. I'll get on YouTube and I'll just find some weird atmospheric loops. You know, there's like even there's like freestyle rap loops. You know, like rapper loops that are really cool and moody. And I'll just kind of play over it, tune my guitar to whatever the tonal key center is, and write something, then get rid of the loop. Yeah. You know, and you know, sometimes it's better to have something to chase if you're not feeling inspired at the moment. So.
Yeah, it's again, as you say, if you keep on going back to the same process, it tends to sound the same all the time. So you have to sort of challenge yourself, maybe musically, to bring something else out of yourself. Mm-hmm. And tuning-wise, then, what sort of types of tunings do you like to use?
All kinds. I like open D5 a lot. That's one of my favorites. Drop D, open E. I like to do drop B just on the lowest string. So the rest of the standard tuning to drop B goes, the E string goes down to B. I like to do open G. I like to do open G minor. So it's like the open G would be if you took the G string and you took the A string down to a G. That would give you. I think you're maybe start out and drop D, take the A string, tune it to a G. And if I'm messing this up, I'm sorry. Then you should have a power chord on the bottom two strings. Strum the top 5 strings, then tune your E string down a whole step, and that's our In Loving Memory tuning. That's our Watch Over You tuning. Then if you take, I think it's the B string maybe, and tune it down a half step, so it's a minor chord. That's the Words Darker Than the Wings tuning. Okay. That's a great tuning. I remember when I wish I could go relive the moments when I first find these tunings. I remember when I first found that tuning, Words Darker Than the Wings came out like that. The parts.
Just inspired.
So I need to go back into the tuning world again and find some new ones.
You must be keeping your guitar tech on his toes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you use a hardtail all the time. You don't really tend to go with Floyd's or anything like that.
I have a lot of guitars with bars on them, but I much prefer the hardtail.
Yeah. And do you ever look at or try 6 or 7 or 8 strings? Sorry.
I have 2 7 strings at home. I wrote Show Me a Leader. That had a 7 string on it.
Okay.
And has one of the toughest guitar solos, and I hate playing it. I don't like playing 7 strings. Yeah. And I wanted to do it just to do something different. Yeah. And then when I'm out touring live and I get handed that 7 string, like yeah. And then you got to play a hard solo. It just feels like I'm playing something.
Yeah. It feels quite alien. Yeah. I've tried once or twice and just really I think it's something you have to really work on, I suppose, maybe just graft up and try and get more comfortable with. Yeah. And so, what's next for you guys? You got this tour which you're trying to obviously finish off, but it was postponed. End of the year, you guys are coming back again with Alter Bridge.
Yes.
Hailstorm and Mammoth WVH for the Pawns and Kings tour. I'm sure you're looking forward to that as well.
Oh yeah. And in the meantime, in September, I'm trying to do some Sinatra dates.
Okay. So London again, possibly?
That would be in the States. And then it's not announced yet, but in December, I think right around December 15th, we're going to play London. Okay. And I think we're going to announce that second week of July or something. Okay. Well, that will go on sale. Yeah. I'm really excited about that. That's going to be like a 2,500 seat place, so it's going to be the biggest Sinatra thing we've done.
And are you getting the band members back together for that there?
Yeah, we got, so we have, when I did the first show, we flew down five of the members that recorded in the studio. Yeah. But when Frank Sinatra toured, he had regional bands. So when he came over here, when he came overseas, he had people over here. Okay. So when we play London, we'll have as many folks as we could that toured with Frank Sinatra that lived in that area.
Very good.
But our guys from the States will fly over, 5 of them.
And what about that switching from the Tremonti or the Alter Bridge head to the Sinatra again? Is that not a challenge?
It's a challenge, but it's awesome. I wouldn't change it. You know, it's I got to put the suit on, and you know, I worried. The very first show I didn't worry about singing, playing with the band. I worried about what I was going to say and what I was going to do, because, you know,
a bit more self-conscious.
I only have a microphone, and there's big breaks where there'll be like a 40-second trombone section or a trumpet solo. So I went online and I looked up people performing the same songs I'm doing, and they're all, you know, they all do great jobs, but a lot of them are way more flamboyant and showy
Yeah.
than I feel comfortable with being.
Yeah.
Like you look at Lady Gaga and she's a star, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not obviously, you know, that that much of a performer as far as the aesthetic goes. And I see other people that really put on the Sinatra isms and all that. And I'm like, I don't want to pretend to be Frank Sinatra. I'm just going to do my thing. When I did the show, it all felt just natural, you know. It's those 40-second gaps, you know, you see those familiar faces of your fans, and you just take 40 seconds.
Appreciate them.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, like, back at home, is there like a back cave with the suit lit up, hanging on a wall somewhere?
No, it's hanging in my closet, and I'm the more I tour on this, it'll give me an excuse to have a cool collection of suits, because, you know, throughout my entire life, I've always had one suit.
Yeah.
And I grow up a little bit, trade it in. You know, every 4 or 5 years, I'll get a new one suit.
Yeah.
Now I own 2 suits. So, you know, as this goes, I'll have to, you know, get a little collection of suits. And I love the fact that when I do these shows, I get to see all the fans that we've had all these years dressed up.
Yeah.
You know, because these are formal shows. And it's great I think it's good for them too, because people like to get dressed up and have a date night or go out and it gives it a different vibe.
I'm sure it must be strange seeing some of the old friends with the long hair and the suits as well.
Yeah.
all the metalheads making an effort.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, look, Mark, I'll keep you any longer because I know you're busy. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Best of luck for tonight, obviously, for the show and for the rest of the year. And we'll catch you again, hopefully in, I think it's December. You're playing actually Dublin.
Yeah.
So we'll catch you down there as well.
Awesome.
Many thanks once again, Mark Tremonti.
Thank you.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that.